Hello everyone, in this video we'll look into a relatively new BloodHound collector written in Rust. I'll show how to install it and use it with both NTLM and Kerberos authentication. We'll also talk about if it's actually a better alternative to BloodHound Python ingester that has been around for a while, so let's dive in. So first let's talk about RustHound a little bit. So RustHound is a BloodHound collector written in Rust programming language that's much faster than the Python version, and was released, I believe, a few years back, but didn't have all the nodes that Python ingester supported and supports right now. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this BloodHound.py written by Dirkjan that has been around for a while, and you have probably heard about it and probably used it. It allows you to collect BloodHound data remotely, and RustHound is very similar, just written in Rust and has a few advantages over the BloodHound collector written in Python. So yeah, as I mentioned, it didn't support a couple of nodes, but recently lots of people from the community start to contribute to this project. As you can see, OXDF, IPSEC, and other people. But the main advantage for this collector is that it collects Active Directory certificate services data, which BloodHound Python does not as of right now. So before you'd have to run something like certify to collect ADCS data, then you'd have to convert it to JSON files supported by BloodHound, and then you'd have to ingest it. RustHound just makes this process a whole lot easier. You can also install it on Windows and macOS. Also, since it's relatively new around the block, it's not as heavily signatured as the BloodHound Python ingester, collector, sorry. So there's less chance of you getting caught on engagement. Alright, now let's go through installation instructions. So how do we install RustHound? So first thing first, you do need Rust installed, the programming language. So it's very simple. Just copy this command. It's in their documentation. You can Google Rust install and you run this. It's gonna download and will give us a couple of options. We just choose regular install, nothing fancy here. We enter one. And that's gonna take a couple of minutes, I believe like 2 to 5 minutes to install. So I'm just gonna pause the video and we'll continue once it has been installed. Okay, so it finished installing. We got no errors still, so that all looks good. Now we just have to edit our path, and the command for this would be uncali, like this, because using Z shell. And we need to refresh our environmental variables. And now we can verify that Rust is installed. And here it is. Okay, now we can install RustHound itself. And as you can see, if you Google RustHound, you get two repositories. One's from NHR team and the other one's from Gohan. So the one from NHR team is for legacy BloodHound, not the RustHound community edition. So we will not install this one. And for our community edition, which is the BloodHound I use nowadays, and pretty much everyone does, you'd have to use this repo from Gohan, and I'll link it in the video description below. So here we have required dependencies. So if we go to installation and click on required dependencies, it needs all this installed, plus another dependency that's missing, at least on my Kali machine. You might have it, but I'll just show you real quick. So first we just have to install all these dependencies. And again, it's gonna take a couple of minutes to install, so I'm just gonna pause the video and we'll continue once it has been installed. Okay, so it looks like dependencies finished installing, so just asking you to what service you want to restart. Just hit OK. It's gonna restart the ones it needs. And as per documentation, that's all, but I found there's another dependency I need to make it work, at least on my Kali version. I'd say install just to be sure, but you might not need it. It's called binutils. It's Something to do with compilation. I just have to Google it. Otherwise it was failing. So yeah, just hit Y and it's gonna take a couple of seconds and we're gonna pause the video here. Yes. And here we go. We should be all good in terms of dependencies, and let's try to install RustHound. So an easy way to do this is just using cargo command, which is part of Rust. So just do cargo install RustHound-CE. You can also clone a repo using their commands cd and build, but just try this as this is faster. It's gonna download all the Rust dependencies and build it. Shouldn't take too long, so we'll just make sure it doesn't error on us. Yeah, if you don't have that bin utility dependency that I just showed you that we installed and that one of step that's not mentioned there, documentation, it would fail around here. For me, it was found on 88th step, but looks like it didn't. So I'm just gonna go and install it without problems, hopefully. So I'm just gonna go pause the video and we'll continue once it's done. Alright, it finished installing. Let's make sure we can run it. Oh, RustHound-CE, there's the shell. And yeah, we can just zoom out a little bit so you could see it better. Oh, that made it worse. So yeah, here it's working. We got our RustHound Community Edition installed. Now let's talk about the usage itself, how we can run it using both NTLM and Kerberos authentication. So here I have my domain controller, and I have valid username and password, pparker with password 2, and let's run it using NTLM real quick. So syntax is very similar to BloodHound one, to BloodHound collector written in Python. If you have ever used that one, it's pretty similar. Just specify the domain, role.local in my case, user, and specify the password. And here you can specify -z, which is gonna tell it to zip the archive to make sure we don't have a bunch of JSON files, and it's just a cleaner way to do this. And let's run it. As you can see, it was super quick, much faster than Python version. And if we do less, we got this zip file we can import. So I already have my BloodHound Community Edition in here on the system, so I'm just gonna go and upload the file. Where am I? Oh, right here. Load. It's running using Docker. If you want to know how to install BloodHound Community Edition and run it on your Linux box, I'd recommend this video by InfoSecPat. I'll link it in the description below. He goes through the entire process how to install it. Or you can just Google install BloodHound-CE and Poly. It's going to give you a bunch of blog posts right here, for example. And you can go through it and install all the Docker components and run BloodHound Community Edition on your system. So here it's still adjusting. Let's give it a second and we'll go over the data. Right, looks like it's done. Let's go to Explorer and you can just type our user, Parker. As you can see, it's very similar to BloodHound Python ingester, but here's what's different. We go to ciphers and go into PKI hierarchy. We can see we got all the Active Directory certificate source information, and we can search for ESC1, ESC2, or do some custom queries when it comes to certificates. And yeah, that's pretty cool. Alright, let's now show the Kerberos authentication, how we can use it with Kerberos, and if you just do help, it's also very similar, just have to specify -k. But first make sure you have all the prerequisites, such as your host file has all the data it needs, like IP and FQDNs, because otherwise Kerberos will not work. It uses FQDNs instead of IPs. And you also need to generate a kb5.conf file that has all the blueprint to tell Linux how to talk to the domain. We're gonna use netexec for that. It's very similar. You do SMB, domain controller, FQDN, username, password, generate kb5 file, and we generate it. You can also go to netexec wiki and just copy this command. I just showed it in a couple of previous videos, so if you want to go back, I explain it a little bit better in there. I already have my kb5 file. Let's configure it for my domain, so I don't have to do anything else. I have to copy and paste it. So now we can use getGT from mpacket to get a ticket granted ticket to use. We need to export it. And now we can RustHound with Kerberos. We can specify the domain, but we don't need username and password anymore. We have to specify -k. And we need to specify the actual DC FQDN. It's going to be DC local. And hopefully, fingers crossed, this works. And it does. So to use Kerberos ticket that we exported and connect to the domain controller and pull all the information. So yeah, you're probably wondering by now, they only use RustHound from now on at this point? Is BloodHound written Python obsolete from now on? I would say both is the way to go right now, because there are still a couple of nodes that I believe are missing from RustHound that are in BloodHound, and some edges that are missing. But I would definitely run RustHound first to collect ADCS information, and as I mentioned before, it's less signatured in the environment, so if the stealth is important in your engagement, I would say run RustHound, and it's gonna give you like 90% of everything you need. And if you get stuck and need more information, just run BloodHound, written Python, and this might catch something you didn't find with RustHound. That's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.